Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear me loud and clear today. If you've been feeling like time has slipped through your fingers, you felt it, haven't you? That quiet stirring deep inside of you, like something is shifting in your heart, in your mind, in your very spirit. It's a feeling that can't quite be explained, but you know it's there. It's a sign that God is up to something in your life, that He's awakening something inside of you that you thought might have been dormant or lost forever. You might not understand it completely, but you can't ignore it. That stirring is the work of God, preparing you for the restoration He's about to bring into your life. Maybe this year has been tough. Maybe it's been full of disappointments, setbacks, and seasons of waiting. You've been through it. There have been moments where you felt stuck, unsure of what direction to go, or even if you should keep going. But God doesn't leave us in that place forever. He never leaves us in a dry season without a promise of rain. And that stirring in your spirit is the rain beginning to fall, a sign that the drought is coming to an end and your season of restoration is on the way. When God stirs your spirit, it's more than just a feeling. It's an invitation to go deeper, to step into a new season of growth, understanding, and purpose. It's as if He's gently calling you out of the place of comfort you've been hiding in, urging you to trust Him again, to dream again, to believe in your future again. And this stirring isn't just for your own benefit. It's the beginning of something much bigger than yourself. It's a call to step into a new destiny that God has been preparing for you. Often, when we're going through seasons of struggle, we lose sight of the bigger picture. We get caught up in the day-to-day grind, in the frustrations and failures that seem to define our reality. We forget that there's a higher purpose, a divine plan unfolding behind the scenes, and that our current situation isn't our final destination. But God, in His mercy and grace, stirs our hearts to remind us of what's ahead. He stirs our spirits to reignite the passions that may have been buried by the weight of disappointment or the burdens of life. This stirring is God calling you to reclaim what's been lost and to press forward toward the incredible future He's prepared for you. You see, God never wastes a season. Even when we feel like we've wasted time, He's still at work in our lives. That stirring within you is the evidence that the time is coming for restoration. Maybe you've been feeling disconnected from your purpose, or you've struggled to find your passion. But that stirring, that's the first sign that God is about to restore everything the enemy tried to steal from you. He's about to bring new life to the dreams you've almost forgotten. And He's about to show you how much He's been working behind the scenes, even in the moments when you couldn't see it. It's important to recognize that the stirring of your spirit isn't just an emotional reaction. It's a divine movement. It's God working within you, preparing you for what He's about to do. When your spirit stirs, it's like the ground being tilled before the seeds are planted. God is clearing the space, making room for something greater. The emotions you're feeling, whether they be excitement, anticipation, or even uncertainty, are all part of the process of God doing something new in your life. You might not know exactly what's coming, but when your spirit stirs, it's God's way of letting you know that something incredible is about to unfold. Sometimes this stirring can feel unsettling. You might wonder, why now? Why me? You might even feel overwhelmed, like you're not ready for the change that's coming. But let me tell you something, God doesn't stir our spirits without giving us the strength and the grace to walk through the process. When He begins to move in your life, He also equips you to handle what's ahead. The stirring in your spirit is God's invitation to step out in faith, to trust Him like never before, and to embrace the restoration He has for you. The stirring might be uncomfortable at first. You might feel like you're being pushed out of your comfort zone, but know that this is exactly where God wants you. He's stretching your faith, expanding your vision, and preparing you to see things from His perspective. It's a moment of transformation. What's happening inside of you is more than just a feeling. It's the foundation of a new chapter, a new beginning, a new season. That stirring is the first evidence of the restoration that's about to come. When your spirit is stirred, hold on to the promise that God is not finished with you. He's preparing you for something greater, something you've been praying for, something you thought was out of reach. That stirring is the beginning of God's work in your life. And He's not going to leave you in the waiting forever. It's time for restoration. It's time for the dreams, the purpose, the vision to come alive again. Keep pressing forward. Keep believing. Because when your spirit is stirred, God is getting ready to do something powerful. And He's about to restore every wasted year you thought you'd never get back. You're facing new opportunities. I know it may seem hard to believe, especially if you've spent the last year feeling like everything you've worked for has been in vain, like the doors you've knocked on have stayed firmly shut. But I want you to hear me when I say this: new opportunities are on the horizon. The same God who created the heavens and the earth, the one who controls every moment in time, is preparing to open doors in your life that you thought were locked forever. And sometimes those new opportunities arrive at the very moments we least expect them. There's something powerful about the timing of God. You may have spent years working, striving, and praying for breakthrough after breakthrough, only to face disappointment after disappointment. You might have questioned whether those dreams and desires you've been holding on to were ever going to come true. But now, in this season, you're about to witness something incredible. The doors that have been closed for so long are about to open, and they're going to open wide. You'll look back and realize that everything you've been through has been preparation for this moment. These opportunities are not just random chances. They are divinely orchestrated moments meant for your growth, your purpose, and your future. God doesn't give us opportunities without purpose. Every door that opens has been set in motion by His hand, designed to lead you toward the path He's created for you. And sometimes those opportunities come disguised as challenges, obstacles, or even detours. You see, when God opens a door, it's not always going to be what we expect, but it's always going to be exactly what we need. You might have to walk through a season of uncertainty where you're not sure what's on the other side, but if you trust in God's plan, you will find that these new opportunities are leading you exactly where you need to go. What's even more powerful is that these new opportunities might not look like what you imagined. You might have had a picture in your mind of how your life would look, of what success would look like, of what breakthrough would look like. But let me tell you something: God's plan is often bigger, bolder, and better than what we could ever dream up on our own. The opportunities you're facing right now may be the key to unlocking doors that were beyond your wildest dreams. So, instead of dismissing them because they don't fit into your neatly crafted vision, I want you to open your eyes and your heart to what God might be doing in this season. One thing that happens when God brings new opportunities is that He also brings new challenges. But these challenges are not meant to break you. They're meant to build you. The struggles you face as you walk through these new opportunities will strengthen your faith, refine your character, and prepare you for the greater things He has for you. You might feel overwhelmed, like you're not prepared for what's ahead, but I promise you this: when God opens a door, He equips you to walk through it. You may not have all the answers, but you have everything you need because God is with you every step of the way. Sometimes we resist new opportunities because they force us to leave our comfort zones. We're comfortable in what we know, even if it isn't working the way we want it to. But let me tell you, nothing great happens in your comfort zone. The real growth, the real breakthroughs, and the real blessings come when you step out in faith, when you take that first step into the unknown, trusting that God is leading you. New opportunities require courage, and it's in those moments of courage that God moves in powerful ways. The courage to say yes, to walk through the door He's opening, is the key to stepping into the new season He has for you. These new opportunities might also come in the form of people. God doesn't work in isolation. Often the breakthrough you're waiting for is tied to the relationships you have with others. God will bring people into your life who will help you, mentor you, and encourage you to keep moving forward. It might be a friend who believes in you, a mentor who shows you the way, or even a stranger who opens a door you never thought would open. If you've been facing the same struggles over and over again, look closely at the people around you. God may be using them to bring the opportunity you've been waiting for. In this moment, you need to ask yourself, are you ready for the opportunities God is bringing your way? I know it can feel scary, stepping into the unknown, but the opportunities you're facing now are a sign of God's faithfulness. He's bringing them to you because He trusts you. You've been prepared for this moment, even if it doesn't feel that way. Trust in the process. Trust in God's timing. The new opportunities you're facing are not a mistake, they're part of God's divine plan for your life. This is a season of new beginnings. Don't let fear, doubt, or past failures hold you back from walking through the doors God is opening for you. Be bold. Step into the future He has for you. The opportunities you've been waiting for are right in front of you, and all you have to do is take that first step of faith. God is opening doors in your life, and these opportunities are just the beginning of the incredible things He's about to do. Has gone by with no fruit to show for it. I'm here to tell you something. God is not through with you yet. In fact, He's about to restore everything you thought was lost. You've been carrying it for far too long, baggage that weighs you down, holds you back, and keeps you stuck in a place you were never meant to stay. It's time to let go. Maybe it's the hurt from past relationships, mistakes that you can't seem to move past, or regrets that feel like anchors dragging you into a sea of despair. You've tried to move forward, but that weight just won't let up. Today, I want you to hear this: letting go of old baggage isn't just about setting down the weight. It's about freeing yourself to step into the future God has for you. The thing about old baggage is that it doesn't just stay in the past, it follows you, affecting your present, and if you let it, it will follow you into your future. It's easy to hold on to pain, to hold on to disappointment, to hold on to the things that didn't work out the way you planned. It's human nature to cling to what we know, even if it's not healthy. But God is calling you to release that old baggage and make room for the new things He wants to do in your life. You can't embrace the new if you're still carrying the old. It's time to set down the burdens that have kept you from becoming the person you were created to be. Letting go is not easy. It's not something that happens overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen without a fight. The old baggage you're holding onto has become a part of you, even if it's unhealthy. It's familiar, and there's a sense of comfort in the familiarity of your pain, your fear, and your regrets. You may feel like you're not sure who you'd be without that baggage, like you might lose a part of yourself if you let it go. But I want to remind you that you are not defined by the weight you carry. You are defined by who God says you are, and He's calling you to let go of the things that don't reflect His truth. The first step to letting go of old baggage is recognizing it for what it is. It's not just a memory or a mistake, it's something that's holding you hostage. Whether it's unresolved anger, bitterness, guilt, or unforgiveness, that baggage has been chaining you to a past that no longer serves you. You can't move forward while holding on to things that only drag you down. And when you begin to see that baggage for what it is, a heavy burden that has no place in your future, you'll be able to start the process of releasing it. But releasing it takes intentionality. It's a choice. You have to decide that enough is enough, that you're no longer going to let your past dictate your future. You have to make a conscious decision to forgive, to heal, and to let go. Forgiveness especially is a powerful tool in letting go of old baggage. It's not about excusing what was done to you or pretending that the pain didn't happen. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the hold that pain has over you. It's about refusing to let your past control your present or your future. Forgiveness doesn't just release the person who hurt you, it releases you from the power that hurt has over your life. It's also important to acknowledge that letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean you erase the past or pretend that things didn't happen. Instead, it's about choosing to stop carrying the weight of it. It's about choosing to take the lessons from the past without allowing them to define you. When you let go of old baggage, you make room for healing, growth, and restoration. You open yourself up to new possibilities and new beginnings. The past has shaped you, but it does not have to be the thing that dictates your future. One of the hardest things about letting go is the fear of the unknown. You've been carrying this baggage for so long that you've become used to it, even if it's painful. The thought of releasing it might feel scary, like stepping into a void where you're unsure of what comes next. But that's where faith comes in. You have to trust that God has something better for you on the other side. When you let go of the old, you make room for the new. And what God has for you is always better than what you've been holding on to. The old baggage may have kept you stuck, but God's plans for your future are full of hope, promise, and freedom. When you start to let go, it's important to remember that healing is a process. You may not feel completely free immediately, and that's okay. Some days will be harder than others, and some days will feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But don't give up. Keep walking through the process. Every step you take toward letting go is a step toward freedom. Every day you choose to release the baggage is a day closer to becoming the person God has called you to be. The journey may not be easy, but it is worth it. The truth is, you were never meant to carry all of that weight. You were never meant to live in the past, burdened by old mistakes, hurt, and pain. God wants to restore you, to renew you, to heal you from the inside out. But in order to experience that restoration, you have to let go of the things that are holding you back. The past does not define you. Your mistakes do not define you. The hurt and pain you've carried for so long do not define you. You are defined by God's love, by His grace, and by the future He has prepared for you. Letting go of old baggage is about stepping into a future of freedom, peace, and purpose. It's about reclaiming your life and your destiny. You don't have to carry the weight any longer. It's time to let go, trust God, and step boldly into the life He's calling you to live. You've been through it, the struggle, the heartache, the uncertainty about where your life is headed. You've spent years working, planning, striving, and chasing after things that seemed like they would fulfill you, only to find that what you thought you wanted isn't what you truly need. But now something is shifting within you. You're starting to see things in a different light, and your desires, the things that you once thought were so important, are no longer holding the same weight in your heart. There's a transformation happening, and it's not just a change of mind, it's a shift of spirit. You are being prepared for something greater. It's not easy to admit, but sometimes our desires can be misguided. We chase after things that the world says we should want: success, wealth, approval from others, recognition. We believe that once we attain these things, we'll finally feel whole, content, and fulfilled. But if you're honest with yourself, you know that even when you reach those goals, there's still something missing. There's still a hunger inside you that hasn't been satisfied. But this shift that you're experiencing right now is changing that. What once seemed like the end goal no longer excites you in the same way. You're beginning to realize that the things you desired weren't as fulfilling as you thought they would be. And God is showing you a different path, a new direction, one that's more aligned with who you are truly meant to be. This is a sign that God is at work in your life. He's transforming your heart, your mind, and your desires. You're no longer consumed with the things that once held you captive. What used to matter so much now seems small in comparison to the bigger picture that God is revealing to you. Your desires are shifting from temporary, fleeting things to something eternal, something that brings true fulfillment and peace. The superficial goals that once defined you are starting to fade away, and in their place is a longing for purpose, for meaning, for a deeper connection with God. But here's the thing, this shift won't happen all at once. It's a process. There are times when you'll still feel the pull of your old desires. You'll be tempted to go back to what was comfortable, what you thought would bring you happiness. But as you grow and as your heart changes, you'll find that those things no longer satisfy you the way they once did. The desire for superficial success will be replaced by a hunger for something deeper. You'll begin to crave things that align with your true purpose and God's calling for your life. It's a process of refining, of letting go of the things that once consumed you and embracing the things that are truly life-giving. This shift in your desires doesn't mean that you won't still have goals or aspirations, but it does mean that your motivations will change. You won't be driven by the need for validation or by a desire to prove yourself to others. You'll be driven by the need to serve, to love, to make an impact that matters. The desire for recognition will fade, and in its place will come a desire to help others, to leave a legacy that lasts. You'll be more focused on what truly matters: relationships, kindness, integrity, and faithfulness. Your desires will begin to align with the will of God, and in doing so, you will find a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment. The shift in your desires also signals a deeper level of self-awareness. You'll start to realize that some of the things you thought were important were actually distractions, pulling you away from the things that truly matter. You'll begin to shed the weight of unnecessary pursuits and redirect your energy toward what truly aligns with your values and your calling. This process can be uncomfortable, even painful at times, as you let go of things you once thought were essential. But trust that this is all part of the journey. God is purifying your desires, stripping away the distractions, and preparing you for something greater. It's easy to get lost in the noise of the world, to get caught up in the chase for more success, more stuff, more approval. But God is calling you to something different. He's calling you to stop chasing what's fleeting and start seeking what's eternal. As your desires shift, you'll find yourself craving a deeper connection with Him, seeking His guidance in every area of your life. You'll desire to honor Him with your actions, your words, and your choices. Your desires will no longer be rooted in self-interest or personal gain, but in a desire to glorify God and serve others. As you go through this transformation, know that it's a process of becoming who you were always meant to be. You are being shaped and molded, not just by your own experiences, but by God's hand. The desires that once drove you are being replaced with ones that are more in tune with His plan for your life. You may not see the full picture yet, but trust that this shift is leading you to something far greater than you could ever have imagined. The desires you once had were small compared to what God is preparing for you. Don't be afraid of the change. Embrace it. Allow your desires to be refined and reshaped by the hand of God. Understand that He is taking you on a journey of growth and transformation, one that will ultimately lead you to the fulfillment and peace you've been longing for. The desires you have now are only the beginning of a greater purpose, and as you continue to follow His guidance, you will find yourself walking in a path that leads to true satisfaction. You felt it before the moment when your faith is stretched to its limit, when things aren't going as planned, when everything seems to be falling apart, and when you're faced with challenges that test every ounce of your belief. It's as though the weight of the world is pressing down on you, and you find yourself questioning whether the promises you've held on to are real. But in those moments, you need to understand that this is not the end. This is the beginning of something powerful, something that will shape you into the person you're meant to be. Your faith is being tested because it is being prepared for something greater. Life has a way of throwing obstacles in our path, some of them big, some of them small. Sometimes it feels like everything is working against us, and we wonder if we'll ever get out from under the weight of our struggles. But understand this, your faith is being tested not to break you, but to strengthen you. God allows these tests to refine your character, to purify your belief, and to deepen your relationship with Him. It's in these moments of struggle that your faith grows, that you begin to understand how deeply you can trust in God, even when circumstances don't make sense. When you're facing challenges, it's easy to feel isolated, to believe that no one understands what you're going through. But God is right there in the midst of your trial, watching over you. It's easy to forget that God is with you when everything is hard. But that's the very moment when your faith becomes real. When everything is going smoothly, it's easy to believe, easy to trust. But when you're in the storm, when you're facing uncertainty and doubt, that's when faith matters most. God is testing you, not because He needs to know what you're capable of, but because He wants to show you what you're truly made of. As your faith is tested, it's important to remember that it's not a reflection of your worth. Just because you're facing difficulties doesn't mean you failed or that you're not doing enough. God doesn't test us to punish us, but to strengthen us. Think about it when you go through a workout, your muscles are torn down so they can rebuild stronger than before. The same is true for your faith. Every time you push through a difficult situation, every time you choose to trust when it feels impossible, your faith grows stronger, just like a muscle. Each challenge is an opportunity for growth, even if it doesn't seem like it at the time. You may not understand why certain things are happening. You may not see the purpose behind the pain, the heartache, or the struggle. But know this: God is never wasting your time. Every trial you face is being used to shape you, to refine you, to bring you closer to His purpose for your life. There is a plan in motion, and you are being prepared for something that will come in due time. This moment of testing, as hard as it may be, is a necessary part of your journey. Without these trials, your faith would not have the depth it needs to carry you through the next season of your life. Your faith being tested isn't just about what you're going through right now, it's about what God is preparing you for. Often we can't see the bigger picture in the midst of our struggles, but God sees the end result. He knows the blessings that are coming, the opportunities that will open up, and the strength you will have once you've been refined. Sometimes the trials you face are setting you up for something far greater than you could ever imagine. It might not make sense now, but you need to trust that God is working in ways that you can't see. Faith is not just about belief when things are easy. It's about trusting God when the road is tough, when the future is uncertain, when you feel like you have nothing left to give. It's about holding on to the truth of God's promises, even when your circumstances are telling you otherwise. When your faith is being tested, it's not a sign of weakness, but of strength. The fact that you're still holding on, still believing, even when things don't look the way you expected, shows the depth of your trust in God. God is with you in the testing. He knows what you're going through, and He understands the pain you're experiencing. But He also knows the strength that is rising within you, the resilience you're developing, and the person you're becoming in the process. Your faith may feel small at times, but remember that even the smallest faith can move mountains. Every step you take, every moment you choose to trust, is a victory. In those moments when your faith feels shaky, when doubt creeps in, and when you're not sure how you can keep going, remember that your test is a preparation. God is shaping you for a purpose, and while the road may be difficult, the reward on the other side will be worth it. Your faith is being refined, your character is being strengthened, and you are being prepared for a future that is beyond your wildest dreams. Keep holding on. Keep trusting. Your faith is being tested, but it is also being built to withstand whatever lies ahead. There are times in life when you look around and it feels like everything is aligned perfectly, like the universe is opening doors for you, guiding your every step. In these moments, it may seem like you've caught a glimpse of something bigger, something greater than yourself. You're surrounded by favor, and this favor is not just coincidence, it's divine. It's the hand of God at work, positioning you exactly where you need to be, placing the right people in your path, and providing opportunities that seem to come out of nowhere. It's not about your worthiness or your efforts, but about God's grace and favor surrounding you. When you are surrounded by favor, you begin to realize that you don't have to fight as hard as you thought you did. It's like the weight has been lifted off your shoulders. There's an ease that comes with knowing that everything around you is working together for your good. You might not even have the strength or resources to push through on your own, but favor makes up for the gaps. It's a force that propels you forward even when you're at your weakest. It opens doors that no man can shut. It moves mountains in your life. And it shifts things in your favor when you least expect it. What does it feel like to be surrounded by favor? It feels like opportunities are presenting themselves without you having to chase after them. It feels like relationships are being built effortlessly, like the right people are entering your life at the right time. It feels like the things you've been working for are suddenly coming to fruition. And while you may still face challenges and obstacles, it feels like you have the strength and resources to overcome them, because favor gives you an extra edge. Favor doesn't mean you won't face difficulties. It means that the difficulties you face won't defeat you. This kind of favor comes from God, and it is often a sign that you're on the right path. When you find yourself walking in favor, it's a reminder that you are not alone. It's a sign that you are in alignment with your purpose, that you are doing what you are supposed to be doing, and that God is watching over you. You may not see the full picture right now, but the favor you experience is evidence that God is working in your life. It's a sign that the plans He has for you are unfolding, even if you can't fully understand them yet. Favor is not something that you can earn. It is a gift from God. No matter how much you try to prove yourself or work your way to success, favor comes from a higher power. It is not a reflection of your own abilities or achievements. Instead, it is a testament to God's grace and mercy in your life. Just as a child receives the favor and love of a parent without doing anything to deserve it, so too does God pour his favor over us, often when we least expect it. Being surrounded by favor means that things begin to fall into place in ways you couldn't have planned or orchestrated on your own. Maybe you struggled in a particular area of your life, and suddenly things start to improve. Doors that were previously closed begin to open, and you're invited into opportunities you never imagined. People who were once indifferent toward you start offering support, encouragement, and guidance. It's not because of something you did, but because favor is at work, moving things on your behalf. This kind of favor also shifts your mindset. When you're surrounded by favor, you begin to believe that nothing is impossible. It makes you bold and confident because you know that God has your back. The obstacles that once seemed insurmountable don't feel so threatening anymore. You start to walk with confidence, knowing that the favor of God goes before you. It's like you have an invisible shield of protection and guidance that directs you toward the right opportunities and people. Even in moments of uncertainty, you know that favor is working in the background, setting everything up for your good. Being surrounded by favor also means that you are in a position to bless others. It's not just about what you can receive, but what you can give. Favor isn't a selfish gift, it's meant to be shared. When God pours favor into your life, it's also meant to overflow into the lives of those around you. You are in a position to help others, to encourage them, to lift them up. And as you do, you'll find that the favor you experience multiplies. Favor is contagious, and when you extend it to others, you create a cycle of blessing that continues to grow. The key to walking in favor is staying humble and grateful. While it's easy to become prideful or entitled when everything seems to be falling into place, favor is a reminder that it's not about your own strength or ability. It's about God's grace and his perfect timing. When you remain humble, recognizing that the favor in your life is not by your own doing, you create a posture that keeps you open to receiving more. Gratitude is the key to unlocking more favor because it shows that you recognize and appreciate the blessings that are already in your life. You are surrounded by favor, and you need to embrace it. Recognize it when it shows up, and trust that God is working in ways that you can't see or understand. Favor is a gift, and it's yours for the taking. When you walk in the knowledge that you are favored, you step into a realm of endless possibilities, knowing that with God's favor, there is nothing that is impossible for you. Favor doesn't just surround you, it empowers you to achieve things you once thought were out of reach.